The night sky above the ruined city was dark. The moon was hidden behind heavy clouds. The streets were empty. Broken cars and shattered glass covered the road. In the middle of this silent place, a sudden light appeared. It was not the light of fire or electricity, it was something else. A small pod fell from the sky, crashing into the ground with a loud burst of dust. The metal shell hissed with heat, its sides glowing as if they had traveled through fire. Slowly, the door of the pod opened, and a young alien girl stepped out. Her name was Lyra. She was thin, with silver hair that shone even in the darkness. Her eyes were bright blue, glowing faintly. She held something close to her chest. It was a small amulet, glowing softly like a heartbeat. Lyra's hands were shaking. Her voice broke as she whispered to herself, "Mother, I will protect it, I promise." She looked around, fear in her eyes. She was alone on a strange planet, hunted by enemies who had already taken everything from her. From the shadows, another figure moved. It was a man, wearing torn military armor. His name was Daniel. He was a soldier, one of the last survivors of a battle long lost. Daniel had been walking the ruins for days, searching for food, searching for purpose. His face was tired, his eyes sharp. He carried a rifle in his hands. When he saw the pod, he hid behind a broken wall. He aimed his weapon, ready for anything. He thought it was another enemy machine falling from the sky, but what he saw made him freeze. It was not a monster, not a soldier, not a weapon. It was just a girl. Daniel stepped forward slowly. His boots crunched on broken glass. Lyra spun around, holding the amulet tight. Her eyes widened. She raised her hand as if to defend herself. The amulet flickered with energy. "Stay back," she cried. Her voice was small but full of fear. Daniel lowered his weapon a little. He saw the tears on her face. He saw the glow of the amulet. And he knew at once, she was not his enemy. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. His voice was calm but firm. He moved slowly, showing his empty hand. "What are you doing here?" "Kid," Lyra trembled, her lips moved. "They killed my mother. They want this. They will come. They will kill me too." Daniel frowned. He did not understand who they were, but he understood the fear in her voice. He looked at the amulet. Its glow was strange, alive. It felt important. Too important. Suddenly, a noise broke the silence. Heavy steps echoed through the ruins. A metallic hiss filled the air. Lyra gasped. She knew that sound. "They are here," she whispered. Her body froze in terror. Daniel's instincts returned at once. He grabbed his rifle and pulled the girl behind cover. "Who's coming?" he asked. His eyes scanned the shadows, his finger ready on the trigger. Out of the darkness, shapes appeared. Tall, armored hunters. Their armor black and silver. Their eyes glowed red like fire. They carried weapons that buzzed with deadly energy. Their voices were cold and harsh. "Give us the amulet," one of them growled. His voice echoed like metal scraping stone. Lyra clutched the amulet tighter, shaking her head. Her heart pounded. Her mother's last words rang in her mind. "Never let them take it." Daniel's eyes narrowed. He saw the fear. He saw the hunters. He understood enough. These things had killed her mother. They wanted the amulet, and now they were here. Daniel raised his rifle. His voice rang through the ruins. "You'll take it over my dead body." The hunters laughed, a cruel sound. Then they raised their weapons. Red light lit the night. Lyra pressed against Daniel, her eyes wide. "You will die," she whispered. Daniel gave her a quick look. His face was hard, but his eyes held fire. "Not if I kill them first," he said. The first blast hit the wall beside them. Stone shattered. Fire burst. The ruins shook. Daniel fired back. His bullet sparked against the alien armor. The sound of battle filled the air. In that moment, the story began. A human soldier, broken but unyielding, and an alien girl, hunted but still alive. Their paths had crossed by chance, but fate had chosen this night, this city, this fight. The hunters closed in, their weapons glowing brighter, their steps shaking the ground. Daniel kept firing, protecting the girl at his side, and Lyra, holding her mother's sacred amulet, prayed that he was strong enough to stand. The night was no longer silent. The ruins no longer empty. The arrival of the girl had changed everything, and nothing would ever be the same again. The battle in Midor, the ruins was short but violent. Daniel's rifle cracked again and again, sparks flying each time his bullet struck the hunter's armor. The aliens fired back with red bursts of plasma, burning holes into walls and sending stones flying. Smoke and dust filled the air. Daniel pulled Lyra deeper into cover. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He had fought many battles before, but this one felt different. The girl beside him was no soldier. She was fragile, scared, yet the glowing amulet in her hand seemed to pulse like a living thing. When the hunters paused to reload their weapons, Daniel grabbed Lyra's arm. "We move now," he whispered. She nodded, though her legs shook with fear. Together they ran through broken alleys, the night filled with the sound of distant growls and stomping metal boots. Finally, they reached the shell of a collapsed building. Daniel pushed her inside and crouched near the shattered windows. His eyes scanned the streets, watching for movement. The city was quiet again, but the silence felt like a trap. Lyra sank against the cold wall, her hands wrapped around the amulet. Its glow was soft, almost like a heartbeat. Daniel turned his head and studied it for the first time. It was small, made of crystal and silver metal. Its center was a blue core of light, swirling slowly like a tiny storm. "That thing," Daniel said, his voice low. "What is it really? Why are they after it?" Lyra's eyes lifted to him. She hesitated, as if telling the truth might break something inside her. Finally, she whispered, "It is my mother's sacred amulet. It is not only a memory. It holds the spirit of my people." Daniel frowned. He had heard many strange things in war, but never words like these. "Spirit of your people," he repeated. "What does that mean?" She clutched the amulet tighter. Her voice shook but carried strength. "On my world, the amulet is more than a jewel. It carries the essence of my people's will. My mother was its guardian. When she fell, she gave it to me. If the hunters steal it, they will control the life of my entire race. They will enslave us all." Daniel stared at her. His soldiers. Mind tried to measure her words. Was it a weapon, a key, or something even more dangerous? He looked at the glowing heart of the amulet, and for a moment he thought he could hear faint whispers inside. Like distant voices calling across space, Lyra saw the question in his eyes. "It is alive," she said softly. "Not alive like you or me, but alive in spirit. It remembers. It protects. It feels." Daniel shook his head slowly. "And you're telling me they'll burn planets just to take it?" She nodded, her eyes filled with tears. "They already have." The weight of her words sank into Daniel's chest. He had fought battles for his own world. He had seen villages destroyed, comrades lost, but this girl carried the survival of an entire race in her small hands, and now, by chance or fate, she had come to him. He leaned back against the wall, staring at the sky through the broken roof. "So, I'm guessing you don't have friends coming to save you?" Lyra lowered her head. "No. My people are scattered. My mother was the last of the High Guardians. Without her, I am alone." For a moment, Daniel said nothing. His jaw tightened. He thought of his own squad, all gone. Lives lost in battles that never truly ended. He thought of how alone he had felt since then. And now, here was this girl clutching a glowing crystal, hunted by monsters from another world. Daniel lowered his rifle, resting it across his lap. His voice was rough but steady. "Then you're not alone anymore. As long as I breathe, they won't get that thing." Lyra blinked. Her lips parted in surprise. For a second, she saw not a broken soldier but a shield, a protector. Her chest loosened, and she whispered, "Why? Why would you fight for me?" Daniel gave a small, tired smile. "Because that's what we do. We fight for what matters. You said that thing carries your people's spirit. Sounds worth fighting for to me." Before Lyra could answer, a sudden hum filled the air. The amulet pulsed stronger, glowing brighter. Daniel tensed, raising his rifle. "What now?" he muttered. But it was not an enemy. It was the amulet itself, reacting to something unseen. A faint blue light spread across the walls, casting shapes like symbols. Lyra gasped. Her eyes widened. "It is showing you trust," she whispered. "It has accepted you." Daniel frowned. "Accepted me? What the hell does that mean?" The amulet flickered again, warm light bathing his scarred face. For a brief moment, he felt calm, as if 1,000 voices whispered courage into his soul. Then the silence shattered. A hunter's growl echoed from the street outside. Heavy steps thundered closer. Their red eyes glowed in the shadows. Daniel rose to his feet, rifle ready. His eyes burned with new fire. He looked at Lyra and nodded. "Stay close. Whatever that thing is, it just made me part of this fight." Lyra stood too, clutching the amulet. Her fear was still there, but now mixed with hope. Together they faced the darkness outside, knowing the secret of the amulet had tied their fates, and as the hunters closed in, the city once again prepared for war. The night was no longer still. The heavy steps of the hunters grew louder, shaking the broken streets. Red eyes glowed in the dark like fireflies of death. Daniel stood ready, his rifle pointed at the shadows. Lyra clutched the amulet close to her chest, her hands trembling. The first hunter appeared from the smoke. His armor was dark metal, scratched from many battles. His weapon hummed with energy. The moment he saw Lyra, his voice boomed. "The amulet belongs to us, human. Step aside or be destroyed." Daniel's lips curled into a grim smile. "Sorry, not today," he answered. His finger pressed the trigger. Bullets tore through the air, sparking as they struck the hunter's chest. The alien staggered but did not fall. His armor absorbed most of the shots. With a roar, the hunter raised his weapon and fired. A blast of red energy hit the ground near Daniel. The explosion shook the walls, sending stone and dust flying. Daniel rolled to the side, pulling Lyra down with him. Heat burned across his skin. The fight had begun. More hunters emerged, moving like shadows with glowing eyes. They spread out, circling the building. Their voices echoed, cold and merciless. "Hand over the girl, hand over the amulet," Lyra pressed against Daniel, her voice shaking. "We cannot win. They are too strong." Daniel reloaded his rifle, his jaw tight. "Maybe, but we can make them bleed," he said. His tone was sharp, full of fire. He looked at her quickly. "Stay low. Don't move unless I tell you." The next blast came through a broken window. Daniel fired back without hesitation. The bullet caught the alien's arm, sparks flying as the armor cracked. The hunter roared in pain, but the others pushed forward, their weapons glowing brighter. Lyra's heart pounded. She wanted to scream, to run, but her mother's words echoed. In her mind, never let them take it. She looked down at the amulet, its light pulsed stronger, almost as if it could feel the danger. Suddenly, Daniel grabbed her hand. "Move!" he shouted. Together they rushed through a side door, stumbling into another alley. The air was thick with smoke. The night echoed with alien roars. The hunters followed, their steps heavy, their weapons burning holes in the walls. Daniel dragged Lyra behind a rusted car. His rifle barked again, taking down another hunter with a shot through the neck joint of the armor. The alien fell, sparks flying, but 2 more replaced him. Lyra cried, "Hurry, they will not stop, they will chase us forever." Daniel's eyes burned. "Then we fight until forever ends," he said. His voice was steel. One hunter leaped forward, towering over Daniel, his weapon raised for a killing strike. Daniel ducked and shoved his knife upward. The blade pierced through a gap in the alien's chest plate. The hunter screamed and collapsed. Daniel pushed him aside, breathing hard. For a moment there was silence, only the crackle of fire in the distance. Then the sound of more steps came, heavier than before. A larger shadow emerged, the leader of the hunters. His armor was blacker than the others, his weapon larger, his voice thundered, "Human! You will die tonight," Lyra gasped, pulling Daniel's arm. "He is the war chief, he cannot be beaten." Daniel spat blood from his lip, his rifle shaking in his hands. Everyone can be beaten, he growled. The war chief raised his weapon, energy glowing like a sun. The air burned with heat. In panic, Lyra lifted the amulet. Its blue light burst outward like a shield. The blast struck the shield and rippled across the street. Pushing the hunters back, the ground shook. Stones flew. Daniel's eyes widened. He looked at the glowing shield around them. "That thing just saved us," he said. His voice carried both awe and fear. Lyra's face was pale. Her arms shook as the amulet dimmed again. "It listens to my heart," she whispered, "but it drains me." Daniel pulled her behind another wall, bullets rattling from his rifle as he covered their retreat. His mind raced. He had seen many weapons, many machines, but never something alive like this, something that could change a hopeless fight. The hunters regrouped, their leader roaring commands. Their voices echoed. "Do not let them escape. The amulet must be ours." Daniel and Lyra stumbled through broken streets, smoke rising behind them. Every corner burned with danger. Every shadow held glowing red eyes. Daniel's muscles ached, his ammo was running low. His lungs burned with every breath. Yet he did not stop. They reached the edge of the ruins where a collapsed bridge stretched across a dark river. Daniel glanced back. The hunters were closing in. He clenched his jaw. "We stand here," he said. Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. "You cannot win alone." Daniel raised his rifle and gave a thin smile. "Good thing I'm not alone." He looked at the amulet in her hands, its faint glow reflecting in his eyes. The hunters charged, their weapons lighting the night. Daniel opened fire, bullets sparking against armor, explosions tearing the ground. Lyra raised the amulet once more, her voice trembling but strong. The blue shield flared. The first attack of their long war had truly begun. The bridge shook under their feet. Smoke and fire lit the night. Daniel fired until his rifle clicked empty. The hunters kept coming, their armor glowing with red light. Lyra raised the amulet again, but her arms shook with exhaustion. The shield flickered weakly. Blue light flashed once, then dimmed. The war chief laughed, his voice rolling like thunder. "You cannot run forever, little guardian. The amulet will be ours." Daniel threw his empty rifle aside and grabbed Lyra's hand. "We're not staying here, move," he barked. They rushed across the broken bridge, pieces of stone crumbling under their boots. Behind them, the hunters followed, each step shaking the ground. Halfway across, a blast struck the bridge. The stone cracked. Parts of it fell into the black river. Below, water splashed high. Daniel pulled Lyra forward. "Don't look back," he shouted. His grip was tight. He would not let go. They leaped over broken gaps, the wind roaring in their ears. The bridge groaned under their weight. Another blast exploded behind them, throwing shards of stone into the night. Lyra screamed but kept running, clutching the amulet close. At the far end, Daniel spotted a tunnel leading into the old subway. "In there," he growled. His lungs burned, his legs ached, but he did not stop. They dived into the tunnel, just as the bridge behind them collapsed into the river. The hunters roared in, fury, their voices echoing across the ruins. Inside the tunnel, it was dark and silent. The only light came from the faint glow of the amulet. Daniel leaned against the wall, catching his breath. His hands trembled from the adrenaline. He wiped sweat from his brow and looked at Lyra. She sat on the ground, her chest rising and falling. Her small body shook with exhaustion. The amulet rested in her lap, glowing softly. Daniel crouched beside her, his voice low. "You did good, kid. You kept us alive." Lyra shook her head, tears in her eyes. "I am weak. The amulet drains me. I cannot use it again soon. They will catch us." Daniel put a hand on her shoulder, firm and steady. "Listen, you're stronger than you think. You kept going when most would have given up. That's strength. Don't let fear tell you otherwise." For a moment her eyes met his. There was pain, but also a spark of hope. She nodded slowly, whispering, "My mother believed in humans. She said you would fight for what is right." Daniel gave a short laugh, though his face stayed hard. "Your mother was smarter than most," he said. Then his tone turned serious. But we can't stay here long. They'll track us. He scanned the tunnel. His soldier's instincts searched for paths, for traps, for exits. The subway stretched far into the darkness. Crusted tracks leading deeper underground, they moved carefully. Their steps echoed. Rats scurried in the shadows. Water dripped from broken pipes. The air smelled of rust and dust. Every sound made Lyra flinch, but Daniel kept her close, guiding her through the maze. Behind them, the hunters roared again. Their voices carried into the tunnels. Run all you want. The amulet will be ours. Lyra's body stiffened. Her grip on the amulet tightened. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Let them come, he muttered. This isn't the first time I've been hunted. They pushed deeper until the tunnel opened into an old subway station. Broken benches and shattered signs lay across the floor. Faded posters still clung to the walls. Daniel scanned the station. Quickly, his eyes caught an old service hatch leading upward. That's our way out, he said. He boosted Lyra up, then pulled himself through. They emerged into the ruins of a marketplace, stalls broken, dust covering everything. Moonlight poured through cracks in the ceiling. Lyra looked around, her voice trembling. Where do we go, Daniel? They are everywhere. Daniel knelt, checking his gear. He had little ammo left, only a knife in his fists. His eyes were tired but steady. We don't run blind, we need to think. The amulet is power, but it's also a beacon. It draws them to us. We need to stay ahead, not just escape. Lyra listened. Her fear gave way to determination. Then we fight smart, not only fight strong, she said, repeating his own soldier's wisdom back to him. Before Daniel could answer, a sudden noise echoed from above. A hunter crashed through the ceiling, landing with a thunderous roar. Dust and rubble filled the air. His weapon glowed bright, aiming straight at them. Daniel shoved Lyra aside and charged forward, knife in hand. The hunter swung. Daniel ducked and drove the blade into a weak spot. Under the alien's arm, sparks flew. The hunter screamed. Lyra lifted the amulet instinctively. Its glow burst again, a wave of blue energy pushing the creature back. The hunter crashed into a wall, sparks flying. Daniel yanked his knife free, breathing hard. We need to move now, he said. They ran again, hearts pounding. Behind them, more hunters poured into the station, their red eyes burning like fire. In the dark, the chase was endless. But as Daniel pulled Lyra through the broken market, he felt something new. It wasn't just survival anymore, it was purpose. He was no longer fighting for himself, he was fighting for her, for the amulet, for something greater than war. And though the hunters followed, their weapons glowing, Daniel's voice cut through the night. They think they can break us, but they don't know what humans do when we're cornered. Lyra clutched the amulet, her fear slowly turning into fire. Together they vanished into the ruins, escaping once more, not defeated, not broken, but ready for the battles yet to come. The ruins fell quiet after their escape. The hunters' roars grew distant, swallowed by the endless city. Daniel and Lyra slowed their pace, lungs burning, legs shaking. They slipped into an abandoned library, its tall windows broken, shelves covered in dust. Daniel set Lyra down on a fallen chair. His chest rose and fell as he caught his breath. He checked his rifle, only 2 magazines left. He wiped the sweat from his face, then looked at the girl. Lyra held the amulet against her chest. Its glow was faint now, as if resting. Her hands trembled. Her small shoulders sagged with exhaustion. She looked fragile. Yet the weight she carried was heavier than any soldier's gear. Daniel crouched beside her. His voice was low, calm but firm. You need rest, kid. You can't run forever if you break down. Her eyes lifted to his, bright and watery. They will not stop. They will hunt me until I am gone. If you stay with me, you will die too. Daniel gave a short, tired laugh, shaking his head. You don't get it. I've already faced death more times than I can count. Staying alive without purpose is worse than dying. Protecting you, that's something worth the risk. Lyra blinked, her lips parting, her voice softened. Why, you do not know me. I am not even human. Daniel looked at her, his eyes dark but steady. Doesn't matter. You're alive. You're hunted. And you carry hope in your hands, that's enough. The girl's throat tightened. She lowered her gaze to the amulet. My mother said humans fight for family, even when the odds are lost. She said maybe one day I would find someone like that. Her fingers brushed the glowing crystal. She was right. For a long moment, silence filled the library. Wind howled through broken glass. Dust swirled in the air. Daniel leaned against the wall, his thoughts heavy. He had lost his own family long ago, comrades, brothers in arms, people he could never save. But here, in this broken city, a strange girl with silver hair looked at him with trust, and something inside him shifted. He broke the silence, his tone rough. "Tell me about her, your mother." Lyra smiled weakly. Her voice carried sadness but also warmth. She was strong, stronger than anyone. She carried the amulet for years, protecting it from those who wanted to use it for evil. She taught me that it was not just a jewel, it was a promise. It connects our people, it holds our history. It is the heart of who we are. Daniel nodded slowly, his eyes softened. "And now it's your turn to keep that promise." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Yes, but I am afraid I do not have her courage." Daniel leaned forward, his voice sharper now. "Don't confuse fear with weakness. Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about fighting anyway. And you've been doing that since the moment I found you." Her breath caught. She looked at him with wide eyes. For the first time, she saw herself not as a frightened child, but as someone standing in the shadow of warriors. The amulet glowed faintly in her hands. Its pulse matched her heartbeat. Daniel noticed and smirked. "See? Even that thing agrees with me." A soft laugh escaped her lips, small but real. It was the first time she had laughed since she landed on Earth. Daniel felt something inside him ease. The calm did not last. From outside the library, a faint growl echoed, red lights flickered. Through the cracks, the hunters were searching again. Their voices carried into the night. Daniel's body tensed. His soldier's instincts woke instantly. He checked the exits, his knife, his ammo. His voice dropped low. "They're close, we move soon." Lyra swallowed hard, clutching the amulet. "You could leave me. They would not chase you. You could survive." Daniel looked at her with fire in his eyes. His words cut sharp. "I told you before. You're not alone anymore. I don't leave people behind." Something inside Lyra shifted. The bond between them had grown, not from choice, but from battle, from survival, from trust. She no longer saw Daniel as just a soldier. She saw him as her shield. She whispered, "Then I will not give up. If you fight, I fight." Daniel gave a small nod, approving. "Good. That's the spirit." He adjusted his gear and stood. "Rests. Over, kid. Time to move." The hunters' voices grew louder outside. Their heavy boots shook the ground. The glow of their weapons lit the streets. Daniel helped Lyra to her feet. Together they slipped into the shadows of the ruined library, their bond unspoken but unbreakable. For the first time, Lyra did not feel like prey. She felt like part of a team. And Daniel, though weary and scarred, felt something he hadn't felt in years. He felt like a protector again, like a soldier with a mission that mattered. The hunters prowled closer, their eyes burning red. The chase was not over, but neither was their will together. The human and the alien girl stepped into the darkness, bound by trust, by survival, by the promise of a fight that was only just beginning. The hunters closed in. Their growls echoed across the ruins. Red lights flashed between broken walls. The sound of heavy boots struck the earth like war drums. Daniel led Lyra into the shell of an old battlefield, where shattered tanks and twisted metal lay like bones of a forgotten war. He stopped in the center of the wreckage, scanning the ground. His soldier's mind studied the broken vehicles, the rusted weapons, the craters filled with shadows. His eyes narrowed. This was the place. If they were going to make a stand, it had to be here. Lyra tugged at his sleeve, her voice shaking. "Daniel, there are too many. We cannot fight them all." Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice low but hard. "Listen, kid. Sometimes you don't get to choose the fight. Sometimes the fight chooses you, and when it does, you don't run. You stand." He moved quickly, gathering metal, scraps, broken grenades, wires from old vehicles. His hands worked fast, setting traps, rigging explosives, building barriers. Lyra watched him, her eyes wide. He looked less like a man and more like a force of nature, a soldier who refused to bow. The hunters spread out, surrounding the battlefield. Their leader, the war chief, stood tall at the front. His armor gleamed black in the moonlight. His voice thundered, "Give us the amulet and your death will be quick. Resist, and you will suffer." Daniel smirked, his knife strapped to his side, rifle ready. "I've been suffering for years," he called back. His voice carried across the ruins, sharp as steel. "Come and try me." The hunters roared, charging forward. Their weapons lit the night with red fire. Daniel opened fire, his rifle spitting bullets in a steady rhythm. Explosions tore the ground as his traps ignited. Flames rose, smoke billowed. The battlefield became chaos. Lyra clutched the amulet, its glow pulsed with her heartbeat. Fear raced through her veins, but so did something new. "Courage," she whispered to herself. "For my mother. For my people." The amulet answered with a stronger light, wrapping her in a faint blue aura. Daniel fought like a man possessed. He ducked behind wreckage, firing and moving. His knife flashed in close combat, striking weak points in alien armor. Each kill was earned with blood and grit. His body burned with cuts and bruises, but he kept going. One hunter lunged at Lyra. Claws outstretched, she screamed and raised the amulet. A shockwave burst outward, throwing the creature into a burning tank. Daniel glanced back, his face both shocked and proud. "That's it, kid. Don't just survive. Fight." The war chief entered the fray, towering over the battlefield. His weapon glowed with the power of a burning star. He swung it, and the ground cracked open. Daniel barely rolled aside as the blast shook the earth. His ears rang, his vision blurred, but he rose again, knife in hand. The war chief's eyes glowed red, his voice like thunder. "You are nothing but a broken human. You cannot stop us." Daniel wiped blood from his face, his grin defiant. "Funny thing about humans," he said, spitting dirt. "We don't know when to quit." They clashed, Daniel darting between strikes, his blade searching for weak spots. The war chief swung heavy blows, sparks flying as metal clashed. Each strike rattled Daniel's bones, but he refused to fall. Lyra saw him struggling. Her chest tightened. She lifted the amulet high, pouring every ounce of will into it. Blue light burst outward, a shield wrapping Daniel just as the war chief struck again. The blast rebounded, throwing the alien back. Daniel glanced at her, his chest heaving. "You're doing it, you're controlling it." She shook her head, tears streaming. "No, we are doing it together." The hunters hesitated, shaken by the growing power. The amulet pulsed brighter. Its light filled the battlefield like dawn breaking through night. The spirits of Lyra's people seemed to whisper through the air. Daniel felt it too, a surge of strength not his own. With a roar, he charged the war chief. His knife pierced deep into the joint of the alien's chest plate. At the same time, Lyra unleashed the amulet's full light. A wave of blue fire spread across the ruins. Hunters screamed as their armor cracked, their weapons burned, their bodies collapsed into dust and ash. The battlefield went silent. Smoke drifted across the wreckage, flames flickered weakly. Daniel fell to one knee, bleeding and gasping. His body was broken, but his spirit burned like fire. Lyra ran to him, kneeling at his side, her hands pressed against his wounds. The amulet glowed gently, healing him slowly. She whispered, her voice shaking, "You saved me. You saved us all." Daniel gave a weak grin. "Guess I did okay for a broken soldier." His eyes closed for a moment, then opened again. "But this isn't over. They'll send more, they always do." Lyra nodded, her hands still glowing with the amulet's light. "Then I will be ready, and I will not be alone." Their bond was sealed in fire and blood. The final stand was not just survival, it was the birth of something greater, a promise between a human soldier and an alien girl, a promise that no matter the odds they would fight together. And though the battlefield lay in ruins, though the night carried the scent of smoke and death, hope burned bright in the glow of the sacred amulet, stronger than fear, stronger than despair. The battlefield was quiet at last. Smoke drifted across the ruins. Sparks flickered from broken metal, and the stench of burned armor filled the air. The bodies of the hunters lay, scattered, some turning to ash, others twisted beyond recognition. The night wind carried only silence now, heavy and final. Daniel sat on the ground, his body battered, his arms heavy with pain. He leaned against the wreckage of a ruined tank. His chest rose and fell with slow breaths. He looked like a man who had given everything yet still held on. Lyra knelt beside him, her hands glowing faintly as the amulet worked its gentle healing. The blue light wrapped around his wounds, closing cuts and easing the bleeding, she whispered, softly, almost like a prayer. "Do not leave me, Daniel, please, not now." His eyes flickered open, tired but alive. He gave her a faint grin, his voice rough. "I'm not that easy to kill, kid." Relief washed over her face. Tears fell down her cheeks, but her smile was real. She looked at the amulet glowing in her palms, its light brighter now than ever before. It was no longer faint or weak. It pulsed strong, steady, alive. "The amulet has chosen," Lyra whispered, her voice full of awe. "It saw your courage, it felt your heart, it accepted you." Daniel chuckled weakly, shaking his head. "Me, chosen by a magic rock, that's a first." "It is not just a rock," she said, her tone firm. "It is the spirit of my people. And now it is also the memory of this night, the night a human stood when no one else would." Her words struck deep into Daniel's chest. He had fought wars where victories meant little, where survival was empty. But this was different. This fight meant something not just for him, but for an entire people he had never known. The ruins glowed faintly as dawn approached. A pale light broke through the clouds, painting the battlefield gold. The sight felt like a promise, like the world itself was breathing again. Lyra touched the amulet and closed her eyes. In that moment, she felt the voices of her ancestors, whispers of strength, pride, and hope. They spoke of survival, of legacy, of bonds that crossed stars. She turned to Daniel, her voice steady. "I will carry this. I will protect it. But I will not be alone. You are part of this legacy now." Daniel met her gaze. His body was weak, but his eyes were alive with fire. "Then let's make sure your people have a future worth fighting for." They rose together, slowly, painfully, but with determination. The battlefield was a graveyard, yet within it stood two survivors, bonded, not by blood but by choice, by sacrifice, by trust. In the distance, the cries of night faded, replaced by the quiet songs of morning birds. The world seemed to breathe again, as if recognizing that something had changed. Daniel looked at the horizon, his voice low. "They'll come again, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week. But they'll come, and we'll need to be ready." Lyra nodded, holding the amulet close. "We will be ready, not as prey, but as defenders. You taught me that." For a moment, silence stretched between them, but it was not heavy. It was filled with unspoken understanding. Daniel reached out, his rough hand resting on her shoulder. "You're stronger than you think, kid, don't forget that." Lyra placed her hand over his. Her voice was soft but firm. "And you are not as broken as you believe. You stood when no one else would. You gave me hope." The amulet glowed brighter, filling the ruins with soft light. It was as if the spirits themselves agreed, honoring the bond between the human and the alien child. They walked slowly through the wreckage, leaving behind the ashes of the hunters. Each step forward felt heavy, yet also meaningful. The fight was not over, but they had proven something. Humanity was not weak, not small, not forgotten. Humanity could stand against the darkness. As they reached the edge of the battlefield, Lyra stopped and looked back. Her silver hair shimmered in the dawn. Her voice carried into the wind. "Mother, I kept the promise. I found someone who fights like family." Daniel stood beside her, silent but proud. Together they turned toward the rising sun. The legacy of that night was more than survival. It was the birth of a bond that would echo through stars. A human soldier and an alien guardian, standing side by side, bound by fire, by trust, by sacrifice. And as the light grew stronger, pushing away the shadows of war, the amulet pulsed like a beating heart, carrying their story forward, carrying their promise across the universe.